Andy, what's up, man? How's it going?
Awesome. Glad to be here. Doing well.
Yeah, thanks for hopping on. So really quick, can you just briefly describe your business and what you guys do?
Yep. So we are Stryker Digital, and we're a local SEO and Google Ads agency for home service businesses. So if you don't know what that is, a pressure washer, anyone that comes to your house provide a service. If the plumber's coming to your house, HVAC, pressure washing, someone's coming to clean your house, those are home service businesses, and those are our target customers.
I love it. And how would you describe like the current state of your business overall?
Booming for sure. Partially, because of the efforts that we put in, but there's also a nice tailwind at our back. I think home services is maybe in a little bit of a bubble, to say the least. There's a lot of people moving out of white collar positions, big consulting firms, hated their life, buying a landscaping business, and moving. And then the nice thing about being in this type of agency is that SEO is sort of an expected investment. Every business owner feels like they need to invest in this, whether they even truly know why or not. So there's a lot of education on our side, but it's a nice tailwind to have for us.
Totally. And before you started working with us at Stacks, a handful of months ago, how was your business different then? What did it look like before you started working with us?
Just like a lot of, man, this next tax season, this should be fun, and just like slowly pushing it off into the back of my mind over and over and over again, just because it's, this complex thing that I don't really understand. I don't want to understand it, which is why we're here working together. So you can have people that understand it to take the reins for you. But one of the big things that changed was that we knew our business was growing. We knew it was very profitable, but we knew our revenue number, but then we didn't truly know how much money would fall to the bottom line, how much we were paying contractors, etc. So now having someone that actually breaks that down and reports for us gives us great visibility into the business and the availability to make more hires, make investments as we see necessary. Because, if you're really trying to operate at a really high level and you don't know your numbers, it's embarrassing. And someone would ask me that and I didn't truly know everything, I was embarrassed to say it. I'm like, I know we're crushing it right now, we're doing great, but other than that, I don't really know.
It's like going on Shark Tank. Like, whenever an investor asks you about your numbers, if you're the person pitching and you don't know, your landed cost for each product, they're going to laugh you out of the building. And it's not even a question of if, it's when you decide to start taking your business seriously, because every larger company has to have, an efficient accounting and finance department in place. Accounting's the heartbeat of business. And I think you guys came to us at a really good time because you guys were experiencing a lot of growth. And that was definitely one of our first initiatives for you guys. It was just really boiling down your cost of service, the services you're providing, and getting granular on like contractor payments, profitability per service. I was pretty glad to see we were able to drill down on that early on for you guys.
Like I mentioned, it's just added a lot of clarity, and it's nice now being able to answer no one really asked me those questions, but I want to know it. I feel like I want us to be the best in the world, and you can't be the best in the world when you don't know your simple numbers. If you ask any really, really high level operator, they're going to know everything about their business. And that's who I wanted to be. So then we came to you guys to make that happen. And it's also just a lot nicer now knowing, looking into the future, that our books are taken care of every single month. We try to be a good client, keep everything clean. We don't really spend on anything unnecessary. And so the hope is that as the next tax season rolls around, that it's just a breeze, that there's not a ton for you guys to do. It's not a ton for us, because we want to operate a really lean business, which we do, and keep it clean. I think it's crazy the extent that people go through to not pay a couple $1,000s in tax, types of like tactics that people use. And I'm just like, I would just rather pay the tax than go set up this other 4-step process to not pay $3,000 or something like that. It's crazy.
More money, right?
Yeah, easy fix. Like, that time should be allocated into just growing the business, not trying to defer, or you can hire people to help you do it, right?
Yeah, I love it. So before you started working with us, when you guys were kind of doing it on your own or not really doing it at all, from there to now that you're working with us, could you elaborate on like your time commitment in our engagement, like what that looks like and how much time you've had to put in to help us get stuff, clean and in a good spot?
Yeah, I think it's just upfront time investment, which isn't even that much. Our time investment maybe was a little bit longer than most would be, because we were transitioning to an S-Corp, moving the business from Pennsylvania to Florida. So those were some, hurdles to overcome, but you guys made it super easy to do. It wasn't difficult to do at all. But I think if we didn't have to do those, if we were just coming in, the time investment would have been extremely minimal. And then on a month-to-month basis, there's almost no time investment at all. Maybe you guys have a question about something, but you guys have some nice systems and softwares that you use that allow us to be notified if we need to categorize something that you guys don't understand. So really, there's almost no time investment. And my favorite thing about working with you guys is I just don't have to think about it. I don't have any stress about it, because if you're trying to be creative or you're in operations, like you're heavily in the business, you don't want to be distracted with those other parts of the business. You just want to focus on what grows the business.
Totally. Yeah. I think when people are shopping, for accounting CFO services, they try to completely rationalize it with a financial ROI, which there definitely is one. But I think you felt just as much as a time freedom, a stress reduction type of ROI on top of a financial ROI as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, both, I think all of them will come into play, but like the one that hits fastest is the time and stress relief. Once we got over those hurdles of getting the S-Corp done and everything like that, now it's just definitely, because there's enough stress. Most of the people that are going to listen to this are probably running agencies. And if you're trying to run it at a really high level and have great customer service, you're going to be stressed all the time because you can never possibly do enough to make people happy. No matter how well you do, they always want more from you. And in order to be the best in the world, you have to be willing to go further, do more than is expected or more than is in your set of deliverables. So your time needs to be focused on that versus, the other back end parts of the business.
Yeah. And now you guys have a foundation to reach that next layer or lever of growth. You're not moving 2 steps ahead and you're growing, but it's messy. Like you actually now have a foundation where it's clear, all your bases are covered, and the path to which you guys keep growing just remains stabilized. And I think there's a lot of that in terms of finance that often gets overlooked, especially, even as something as simple as collecting on payments that are owed to you from clients. Something as simple as that can get overlooked. And if you're growing at a rapid clip, that can easily fall by the wayside. So I'm glad there was just a solid mutual understanding of here's where we want to go, here's what we need to do, and everything seemed to be pretty seamless in that effect. And that's one of the reasons why we've enjoyed really working with you guys. And you guys are go-getters. So I know if we tell you guys something to do, we have to do it. It's not like we're following up with you every week, 2 weeks to say, hey, go do this. You guys are on it.
Yep. Well, also in living in this world, what a good client and a bad client is, and you don't want to be the bad client. But I wanted to add something beforehand. Something that's really nice is having someone who can actually get you pay stubs and have your tax extracted when you pay yourself. Because year one for us, it was just straight pay all the gross amount to your bank account. And, luckily, we're smart enough to recognize, you're going to have to pay taxes on this money. But I think there's a lot of people, especially in this space, there's a lot of young guys killing it that don't have that grasp, don't understand that, and can find themselves in a very sticky spot when you're just paying yourself the gross amount every year. And you feel really rich then because you have all that money, but 30-40% of it has to go back to the government. But it's really nice to have that taken out. And, we have a set strategy for the distributions and the paychecks, and then getting pay stubs now is very valuable for me because I want to work towards buying a condo, and it's going to be nice to be able to show those to the bank and have a legitimate pay stub instead of just here's my bank account, take a look.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one thing we try to do too with all our clients, right? Is not just give you the reports, but also, how does that performance tie to the stuff that you're trying to do personally, on the tax side and the tax planning side. So getting you in a spot where you're going to be able to go buy that condo here pretty quick is awesome. And now the other thing I wanted to ask is, now that you have this accounting and finance foundation laid out and the processes are dialed in, where do you see your business growing, over the next 6 to 12 months with that in place?
Yeah. So I really think, the sky's the limit, honestly, because we don't have to worry about that at all. So at this point now, it's building in other arms of our business. So, because our approach initially was we're only going to do SEO and that's it, because Michael Jordan couldn't be the best basketball player and he couldn't be the best baseball player in the world. So we need to do one thing, become the best at this and be recognized for this. So that's what we did. I think we've achieved it to an extent, at least within our small circle of audience that knows us. People see the results, and now we're kind of recognized in our area as the Michael Jordan for that service. So now the ability to be able to add on additional services like Google Ads, which is something we did in the past that we put away, but being able to add an arm to the business for that. We have a software that's into play if we can ever get Google API access approved. And it was nice. I was able to come to you guys and talk to Guido as well about, I didn't even know what I didn't know about starting the software. Should I just get a partnership LLC and do a breakdown between all of us? I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was able to just come and say, this is something I'm planning to do. Can you guys just consult with me, just give me 20 minutes and just tell me if this is the right direction to go? Because eventually, if that thing takes off, you guys are going to be the ones managing the back end of that one as well. And so if we can get it off the ground, not so sloppy and real clean, and then you guys can come in and take care of it. It'll be really great. But yeah, I feel honestly just completely confident. There's like that's not even like the finance side, the back side of that is like not even a worry. I don't ever think about it now. I don't really ever.
I was gonna say you actually touched on something really important, which is, and we talked about like there's the time ROI and the financial ROI that can be brought, with a CFO in place, but really the fact that like you're able to consistently stay on offense, like that's a key thing that we touch on, is when you have opportunities come up and you don't know how that is going to affect either the tax side or an equity portion of your company, or can we sustain this? Can we have the cash outlay to do X, Y, and Z and take advantage of these opportunities and stay on offense? That's a really big, important piece. And that's something that we really wanted to be actionable on for you guys. And I think that's something that goes missed, I think, a lot when especially agency owners think about the chore of like, okay, now I've got to deal with my finances and my accounting. It's not so much, hey, you're just getting a bookkeeper. I mean, first of all, it's not just a bookkeeper. But two, it's how can I stay on offense and capitalize on these opportunities? Because for you to be able to grow, you got to stay nimble and you got to be able to jump at these opportunities and capitalize on them. I'm glad we were able to do that, especially on the software side, because that stuff can get pretty messy pretty quick, especially when you start folding in different owners and capital allocations and equity considerations.
Yep. And I think something that you were getting to there as well. So like, in the deliverables that we hired for is just the bookkeeping, the monthly financial reports, but speaks to what you guys are building too, because as I mentioned, when you're a really high level operator and you're building the business like this, you do more than is asked of you. And there's no requirement for you to help me, think through a SaaS before it's even started to be built or anything like that. But you guys, got on a call with me and were willing to talk with me about that. And, I mean, that's just like for me as a customer, and then just for anyone that has that experience, that always goes really far when you can just do little things like that.
Absolutely.
So if someone was on the fence about working with us at Stacks, what would you tell them?
I would just kind of give them a dumb look, probably, to be honest. Like literally what could possibly be holding you back, if they work with all the same businesses as us. I've had a great experience. Everything is under control, great social proof already. Prior to us doing this too, I don't really see like any roadblock or any barrier, any objection that someone could possibly have, because there's so much evidence of the service that you guys provide. And if someone asked me, I would just say like hands down, hell yeah, like there's no issue there. Just probably sign the paper already.
We appreciate that. Yeah, you've been awesome to work with. Just kind of before we wrap up, is there any final thoughts you'd like to tell people about or let people know?
I just hit additionally again on the stress saver of it all. I think because for me, that's what I wanted most, was just, I don't want to, out of mind, out of sight. I don't want to think about it. And now I don't ever have to. I mean, and when you run an internet business, your profit margin should be pretty healthy, so you shouldn't have to think about it too much, but you also have to be thinking about that at the end of the year taxes and everything like that. And I'm just not interested in learning all of it. And I don't think you should, if you're operating a business, you shouldn't be doing that. You should hire somebody to handle that for you. It'd just be absolutely silly to commit your time to that when there's people who can help you and, have evidence of already doing it for others that are just like you.
Right on. Well, thank you so much for hopping on, dude. We appreciate your time and we love working with you, and let's keep it rolling.
All right, you guys have been awesome. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for taking your time on this, Andy.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.